this is SimoneSays, and today I want to share my story with you guys, my journey of how I went from deciding that I wanted to go to optometry school to this point today. But I have emails, I have dates, I also have notes, that way I keep everything in order. So if you see me looking down, I'm looking at my laptop. So as I'm recording this, Optomcast opens up on Tuesday, which I believe is June 30th. And with kind of like this uncertain time right now, with a lot of people starting to go to grad school or go to undergrad or even go to high school, whatever it may be, I kind of just wanted to share my story as a way to encourage you that even though it doesn't seem like it's going to be as straightforward as you plan, it does not mean that it's not the right time or not the right path for you. So since we do not have time to waste time, let's get into it. So I just want to paint the scene really quick. I decided that I wanted to be an optometrist way back in grade 10, and it wasn't from careers in civics or whatever that class is called, or any kind of careers class or anything like that. I was just watching Dollars and Tiaras on TLC because I was obsessed with TLC. I was watching it, and that is when I seen the profession for the very first time, and I'm like, that's it. That's the one. That's what I want to do. So being the person that I am, I started with research. I researched everything from what courses I needed to do, what extracurriculars I needed to do, what schools I needed to go to, undergrad and grad school, what program I needed to pursue. And I found out that I needed to do a life science program or something similar to that would allow me to make sure I get all the prerequisite courses so that I can go from undergrad to grad school as seamless as possible. And in high school, I applied to, I think, 3 universities. I applied to Ryerson, U of T, and I think McMaster's just for funsies. I know my marks were not that good. And I got into Ryerson and U of T, and I chose Ryerson. And I went in as an undeclared science. Now, I don't even remember why I did that, but that's the program that I went in as. And I did the first year as undeclared science, and then after that, you have to basically declare what your major was. And I chose biology because you had an option between like biology, physics, chemistry, and I'm like, physics, chemistry, no. So I chose biology, and I didn't really look at the curriculum too crazy. Like, I think I looked at it once before, and I'm like, okay, I can do it. I mean, it's a requirement. I can't really get out of doing it. I'll do all the courses, whatever. But then I realized that there was actually a biomed program, and it wasn't until I actually started in my first year that I realized there was a biomed program. But I'm like,
it's not that big of a deal. It's fine. It'll be fine.
And then later on I decided, yeah, no, I'm not doing ecology and botany and zoology. I'm not here for those courses. Some people, that's their thing. They're here for it. They want to learn about the animals. I'm not that person. So I reapplied to get into the biomed program, and basically it was like I was applying as if I was in high school. So that was kind of like the first little hiccup that I had to go through, because I was actually a little bit nervous that I wouldn't get in, because it's like then I would have to continue through this biology program, and I'm like, I don't even know if I'm gonna do well enough in these other courses that I don't even really want to do. So the other thing that I found out from my research is that I needed to take the OAT, and I needed to start job shadowing with an optometrist. Now within those, I think 2 to 3 years, I was job shadowing with 2 optometrists within that time, and I basically found out about Kaplan, which is the studying program that allows you to kind of study for the OAT. They have all the different kinds of tests, and they have test books and courses and all that stuff. So I registered myself to take one of the courses. That is not cheap. That was probably the first expense that I seen, and I'm like, it was not cheap. I think it was around like $2 grand for the course, which included like the books, the workbook, some cue cards, and like the actual like practice program. That was not cheap, like at all. But I do have the books still, and I have the cue cards for the most part. I have majority of them, and I kind of want to do a giveaway maybe for like next year's class. So if you guys are interested in that, please comment down below and let me know if you guys would be interested in something like that, because I do want to give away my books. I'm actually not using them, so it would be good for anybody that's looking to study but not want to pay for the course. So once I was registered for Kaplan, I started studying my butt off. I studied every single day all summer long, and then I took the test at the end of my 3rd year. I did okay. I didn't do like amazing. It was the reading and the writing where I'm like, I didn't really study for it too much, and I'm like, it'll be fine. Like, you know, I can read, I can write, it'll be fine. I can do basic math, it will be fine. It wasn't fine. I didn't do the greatest on those 2 sections, but I did fine on the rest of it. But I ended up taking the OAT twice. Remember that, because that's going to be important a little bit later on in the story. Now let's talk about the schools for optometry in Canada. Yes, schools, as in plural. There's only two. There is only two optometry schools in all of Canada. One is English speaking, one is French speaking, and they are both on the East Coast. So if you are wanting to go into optometry and you're from Canada and you want to stay in the country, basically like me, you only have two options. Then on top of that, if you don't speak French fluently enough, in order for you to go to the French speaking one, you have literally one option to go to school. Now, luckily for me, it wasn't too far away from the city that I was living in. And so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna put all my eggs in one basket, in this one basket. I'm gonna go to Waterloo. And there was no doubt in my mind I was going to Waterloo. That's where I was going to school. There was no doubt about it. I didn't think twice about it. I didn't think about what would happen if I didn't get in. I didn't think about anything else. In my head, I was going to finish my 4-year degree in biomedical science, and then I was just gonna go to Waterloo. I was all emailing them talking about,
oh, is this a good requirement? Does this fit the requirement? Does this fit the prerequisite? Is this da-da-da-da? Like deadlines, da-da-da-da?
I have multiple emails of me just trying to figure out and trying to make sure that I was trying to get myself in the best standing to apply to their school. Little did I know. So at the end of my 3rd year, I applied for the OAT for the first time. And I applied to Waterloo soon after I took the OAT. That was on September 20th, 2016. Within a few months of sending in my application, I started doubting myself. I was like, I have this feeling in my gut that I'm gonna get a rejection letter. And I don't know if that was me manifesting it. I don't know if that was me trying to cushion the fall. I don't know what it was, but I just had this feeling that I was not gonna get into Waterloo. And then on November 30th, 2016, I received this email. We regret to inform you. No, you don't. This is a template with my name in it. You don't regret to inform me of anything. I think that's probably the only thought that was going through my head when I was reading that email. Is just, nothing seems sincere about it, because it's like, I'm upset that I didn't get into the only school that I applied to, that I had my eyes set on for so long, and my plans revolved around going to this school, and now within one email and in 1 minute, it was just, that seemed like it was it. That was it. There was nothing else left. And being the person that I am, within 20 minutes of that email, I emailed them back and I basically just asked, I'm like, what was it about my application that wasn't good enough, that didn't allow me to be accepted to the school? And this is what they emailed back to me. And to be honest with you guys, I was crushed for like a split second, but then I'm like, I don't know, but something about it, I just wasn't as crushed as I thought I would be. I ended up talking to the optometrist that I was job shadowing at the time, and he basically told me one thing, and this is something that I literally hear in my head to this day. Shout out to you, Dr. Patel. He's like, how bad do you want it? That's all he said. How bad do you want it? And that has stuck with me for so long, and from there, that is what literally lit a fire under my butt, and that's when I started researching again. So unlike Canada, the States has 23 schools that offer optometry programs. So I'm like, okay, cool. This is what I gotta do. This is the next step. This is the new next step I need to keep on going, because I know that this is what I want to do. I know this is where I want to be in a few years. So I'm like, I gotta do this. I gotta figure this out. So I basically started retaking classes. I basically had to start taking classes for the things that a Canadian school requires, but the American school did not, like organic chemistry too. And that is when my 4-year program turned into a 5-year program. But I continued job shadowing with my optometrist, and then I started working at Bon Look, which is a glasses store, in 2017. And I took the OAT for a second time. That test is not cheap. I think at the time that I was taking it, it was around $400, but I just checked a few days ago what the price for it was as of this year, and it is $465. Mind you, that's 465 USD. I've talked about this before in this video right here, but the exchange rate is something that you have to factor in when you are an international student, because the prices that you see are not in Canadian, because they're talking about an American test or an American school, so this is going to be American money. So basically I had to convert that $465 to $465 in Canadian equivalents. Now, although I said that I wasn't devastated about my rejection from Waterloo, I was, however, traumatized. And I didn't really realize that until I started applying to optometry schools in the US. So Optomcast opened, I believe last year was July 1st, and I started applying to schools, and I did my research. I researched literally everything from their MBEO pass rates to what the weather was like or what the crime rate was like. I literally researched everything about every single school and the area around it. Obviously, that included tuition because grad school is a lot more expensive than undergrad, and that is something else that I talked about in this video here. So in an attempt to ensure that I do not fail at anything else, I applied to 10 optometry schools. I'm gonna tell you why a little bit later in this story, but that was the worst idea ever. I cannot stop kicking myself for applying to 10 grad schools because I clearly did not think it through. So when I was applying to these 10 schools through Optomcast, the very first application, I believe at the time, was $140. And then every application after that was $70. At the time, the Canadian American currency exchange rate was, I believe, somewhere around 1.3. So like $1 American dollar was $1.3 Canadian. So that came up to a lot more than what you would think. Now multiply that by 9 schools and then add on the 140. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. But I was determined to get into at least one school. There was no way that all 10 schools were gonna reject me. I also just wasn't too confident in my application. So I'm like, maybe if I apply to all of these schools, then somebody will find that my application is good enough, because I was still kind of scarred from my rejection from Waterloo. And on top of thinking that my applications were not good enough, I also was applying to all of the schools late. And I do not advise this at all because it is so stressful. All of my letters of intent were a little bit different because I try to like customize them based on each school. And say if it was due on like March 31st, I was applying on like March 30th at like 7 p.m. or like 11:59. Like I was just barely making these deadlines. So on top of not feeling so confident about my application, which you would think would make me work a little bit harder to have them in on time, I was handing in these applications late. Hey guys, so I really hope that you are liking this video so far. While I was editing, I kind of realized that this video was starting to become too long, so I decided to cut it in half and make it into a part 2. That will be going live this Friday. I'm trying to stay consistent with these 2 videos a week. But make sure that you are subscribed and you have the notification bell turned on. That way you are notified when that video goes live, just in case you forget that it's coming out on Friday. And let me know what you think so far in the comment section down below. But until next time, guys, stay hydrated, stay motivated, and mind your business. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.